another tutorial with me. My name is Crafty JoJo and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. And today I want to show you how I made this shutter card with a magnetic butterfly closure. So that's why it's called, excuse me, that's why it's called the Buttershutter, because apparently it's a butterfly on a shutter card. So this comes off, and this is the shutter card with the sentiment in here. And as you can see, there's a gap in here which I originally created on purpose, because I originally wanted to put a flower in the center of this, but when I put the flower in and I opened my card, it just looked like too empty and boring. So I changed my plan and put the sentiment in, and then decided to create this to cover up the gap. So today I'm going to do it slightly different and try to close my shutter up so that it's really closed, but I will still show you how to make this pretty thing here. So what you need to know is you need a lot of things. You need this label punch, because apparently the sentiment is stamped on white cardstock and punched out with this. You will need a 1-inch circle, or you need to cut out circles that are roughly the size of a pound coin. So this is the size you will need. You will need to die cut 5 leaves from the seasonal layers thinlits die set, and it is this die that I have used to create these. They are really pretty, and you would need to would need to die cut your butterfly, and the butterfly actually is not a Stampin' Up die. The one that I used here, it's from some random craft magazine. It was a freebie at some point. I really can't remember where I got it from, because I've had it for a couple of months now. But any butterfly basically will do, because you are creating this ornament, so any butterfly can sit on here. It doesn't have to be exactly this butterfly, but this is the one I'm using. So I'm going to put this aside. You will need 1 set of magnets, so that is a set of magnets. So let me just use this, and it consists of 2, as you can see, 2 magnets, and we will need the 2 magnets for our butterfly closure. So where am I going to put this? It's metal. I'm going to stick it to metal. That will be the best. Where am I going to stick it on here? So this is what you need. The sentiment that I've used is from the Eastern Beauty stamp set, and it is called Let's Be Friends Forever, and I've already mounted it. So this is the next piece of equipment you will need, or something similar. Of course, I'm going to quickly put these away, making sure I don't lose them. Put this away. And then you will need various types of cardstock. You will need a circle die that creates circles with a diameter of 2¾ of an inch. So it's a relatively large circle that you will need. And you will need cardstock. This is for the base of your card, and it's 10 inches by 7 inches. And you need to score it at 2½ and at 7½ inch. Then for the middle strip, you will need a piece of cardstock that measures 7 inches by 3½ That's going to sit in the middle, and it's going to have the circle die cut in it. And then you will need 2 pieces of cardstock that actually for the pulling mechanism for your shutter, that actually measure 3 inches by 4 inches, and you score at 3/4. So you score here and here. I'm going to explain to you how you create the triangular shape later. So this is basically how your shutter is going to fit in your card, and I've prepared this in another color just to show you something later on when we are progressing through the work. You will also need some designer paper, and your designer paper for the back side of your card is the largest piece. It's how big is it? 4¾ by 6¾ Then you need the strip for your middle panel that is going to measure 3 inches by 6¾ Then you will need to die cut 1 circle from the same size to be the background of your shutter, and you need 4 strips for the inside and the outside closing flaps, and they are measuring 2¼ by 6¾ So this is the designer paper you will need. And I'm going to set this aside, probably best will be here. And first of all, you need to understand how you're going to create your shutters. So you would need to cut yourself a square that actually measures 2¼ inch. 2¼ there you go, 2¼ inch. And you cut it in half, and the 2¼ inch square, when it's cut in half, is exactly 3 inches wide. So there you go. And this is what you're going to use, and all you do is you place your triangle on your shutter cardstock and you mark the top. Just put a little dot in, and you do this with both pieces, and then I'm going to show you how to cut it, but this is how you are actually creating your shutters. So first of all, you need to create a you need to create a piece of squared cardstock that measures 1¼ inch square. Cut it diagonally, and that gives you the matching size to put this in. Okay, so this is what you are going to prepare, and now let's get busy with scoring. So the main piece here is going to be scored at 2½ inch on both sides, or 2½ and 7½, however you prefer to do it, but the result will be the same. So 2½ on this side and 2½ on this side leaves you with this. And if you fold this up, let me get my bone folder. You have a card that closes. Oh, I haven't folded this straight. Wait a minute, let me just correct this. This one, oh dear me, I haven't done this really nicely. Never mind. So this is how your card closes up, and these are the panels that are going to be decorated with the small strips of designer paper. Of course, you can already, if you like, glue in the back side like so. I'm actually going to do this quickly because a bit of gluing is needed anyway, so it can set. So just quickly add some wet glue. This goes onto the back side of my card. I'm happy with this. And we are also, I'm going to set this away for a minute, we're also going to glue this small strip to the center of this piece of cardstock. So I'm quickly going to do this. Oops. Let me just get closer to the corners here. All right. So this is going to go on like so. If this happens, if it oozes out, don't worry. We have a magical weapon, which is this rubber eraser that erases excess glue. I usually try not to ooze it out, but if it happens, there's no need to panic about it. Just rub it off. So this is my middle panel, and the panel actually needs to be die cut. Oh, this is stuck. Needs to be die cut in the center. And I'm going to quickly die cut this piece. You can place it where you want. You can place it down, you can place it centrally or a bit up. I'm probably going for the center this time. So I'm going to place my die like so and run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll come back to you. So this is what you're left with, and this bit actually goes to the center of your card. And this is important because you really need to figure out that it sits exactly in the middle of your card. So I need to get a ruler out, and apparently it needs to be, because the middle part here is 5 inches wide, And this piece here is 3 inches. Is it 3 inches? Wait a minute. 3.5 inches wide. So what I'm left with is 1.5 inch, and that is 3/4 to each side. So I need to mark at the bottom as well as the top where this 3/4 is, because it's important for the shutter mechanism for a proper fit. So I have to slightly move this here. So here is 3/4, and here. Now, yes, that just so fits there and there. Later on, when you're going to glue this middle panel in, you will need these marks as an orientation. And now this is the most important part. I put this away. Now, in order to get the shutter to shut 100% like so, it needs to be exactly as wide as your middle section. So this is 5 inches, and if I want my shutter to close completely, this needs to be covered. And it includes the, I've already scored this because this is where it needs to be scored, because this is the part that's actually going to be glued when it's going to be glued against this side here. But this is what it actually looks like when your shutter is open. If you look, if you place these 2 bits exactly on the score line, this is how wide your shutter opens. And if you fold these in, this will come in and slide in together like so. Okay, and this actually is going to fold open because it is going to be glued to this side. So this is what's going to happen, and this is going to guarantee that your shutter is shut. So in the first card that I made, I didn't keep my shutter mechanism as wide as this. I made it slightly smaller because I wanted the gap in the middle for the flower, which in the end I even didn't put in. But that's why there is that little gap. So this is basically what you're going to do. And in order to figure out where you're going to put it, you need to bring in this and decide, or not actually decide, you need to figure out. If you put this in the center of your marks here, you would need to figure out which height you would need it. So let me just basically put this in here, pop this on here in my marks that I just made, and like this my card will shut. And now this is important. I just told you at the beginning when I made these marks why they are important. Well, if this strip where you are going to score your shutter mechanism is wider than these 3/4 of an inch, you will have the problem that you won't be able to close the card, because this bit is going to fold inwards. And if this is wider than the section that is left here, this is going to push against it and will not allow you to close your card completely. So it is important when you change measurements and you want to create a shutter mechanism yourself for different dimensions, that you make sure that you have 2 possibilities. If, for example, the 3/4 for some reason, because you haven't maybe scored 100% precisely or something, doesn't fit, you can still take a tiny wee bit of your middle panel to allow to give the space. But basically this flap that is going to open and operate your shutter mechanism cannot be wider than the remaining space from your middle panel to the score lines. If that is wider, it won't close. So that's why you have to be really precise and keep measuring and all sorts. And I think I have to take, this is exactly on the score line. Well, anyway, I'm going to take a tiny wee bit of my strip here, and I'll come back to you, and I'm going to explain to you how you cut this. Or actually not explain to you, I'm going to show you. All right, bear with me. All right, so I've just took like a 1/16 of an inch away from this, and now as you can see I'm generously within those marks, so that is no problem. And now we are, oops, sorry for that. And now we are going to work on our closure mechanism. As I explained to you, you are going to put the points in there, and then you need to get out a craft knife and a ruler, and you are going to just cut your triangles with a craft knife, which I'm doing now. So this is the first cut, and how am I going to do that on camera so I can see what I'm doing and you can actually see what I'm doing? This is always a bit tricky to look behind my ruler. Great, so this is my first triangle, and I still need to score it at 3/4 here, and I'm going to cut out this one as well, and I place my 1 on here. I'm going to cut that corner, and again I place my 1 here just as an orientation mark basically, and I'll cut this. So once you've cut these out, you can keep these for as a template for other 3-inch wide strips, because apparently this is the right size to mark your point. So you can keep them, and the next thing to do is to score at 3/4. So I'm quickly going to do that. Make sure you use the right blade, because if you don't, you're in trouble. So that's my first score line at 3/4 on this end, and second. All right. So the next thing you need to do is figure out, you just fold this once, figure out the height where this shutter needs to sit behind your panel. And once you've figured out the right height, you can actually glue it in place in a very simple way. So this can come down slightly, I think. All right, just a second. Okay, so I just noticed that there was actually a tiny little gap still, so I measured again, and I actually found that I've given you the wrong measurement, because I measured it wrongly at the beginning myself. So these strips are not 3x4, they are 3 inches by 4 1/8, and you score them at 3/4, and then if you put them together like so, they will sit perfectly in the center. So this is what you're going to do. You must make sure that your shutter is closed and fits with the score line already in place, fits exactly in your middle panel, so whatever size your middle panel is. Now you come back in with this bit here, and you figure out what height you would need this shutter to sit. So if it sits at this height, this should work perfectly all right, I think. So what we're going to do is, once we've established where this is going to sit, all you need to do is add some glue, hold this in place. Oops, wait a minute. Oh dear me. All right. We'll still go back to this, and you hold this in place, and you add some glue to this flap while you hold it in place like so, and you fold this side in, and this is going to catch your shutter at this side. And you also leave this closed, You're going to do the same on this side. So you add your glue to your flap. And you're just going to glue this in on this side. I'm quickly going to give this a good rub and come back to you. Okay, so this is what you've got. This is how your shutter opens, and if you push it together it closes, and as you can see there is no gap in the middle whatsoever. So this is how you actually put in your shutter. And the next thing you now need to do is glue the background in the center here. So I'm quickly going to do this. Just close your shutter, and just you can actually rotate it the way you like it. Just want to make sure that, oh, this needs to move a slightly wee bit over here. Yes, if your shutter is open, you still have a good coverage. So this is what you do, you just give it a good rub, and this is how it goes in place. So this is, oops, your shutter. The next thing you do is you need dimensionals, and you make sure you put only dimensionals here. Don't put them here because that's where your shutter mechanism needs to run. So I'm going to squeeze half one in here. Okay, this is the first side, this is the other side. So you just want to pop dimensionals in. And you peel it off and place this within your marks that you made earlier on. So here we go. Oh, come on. Okay, this is the upper part, and this is the lower part, and you want to aim to, actually I'm going to start here at the bottom, to stay within your marks here, and you can actually erase them because you don't need them anymore. So basically this is your shutter mechanism already working. The back side is already decorated. Let me just quickly get rid of this. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. So this is how it works, and it looks good, doesn't it? I like it. So we can set this away, and we are now going to look at our medallion that we now need to set up. So you need all your die cut pieces here, and you need your 1-inch circle punch, and you punch a few. Actually, to be correct, you will need two of this from white cardstock. Make sure you don't use the extra thick white cardstock because that's going to be too heavy. So what you do is you actually add glue to your centerpiece here. You take one of your magnets, pop the magnet in the center, I need some plastic bit to let go. Wait a second. I keep forgetting that metal tools. Well, it doesn't matter if it's all smudged with glue. But now I have to actually touch it with my fingers. No other way. Okay. You apparently need a non-magnetic tool to let go of it. So what you're going to do is you are going to glue your lovely leaves in a circle. Make sure they're all the right way round, so after die cutting they have a left and a right side from the imprint of the die. So make sure this is the right side. Just pop them on, so basically they fit into a perfect circle like so. If you're lacking a bit of glue, just get it. So you still have a bit of time to arrange your leaves, and I pull them in slightly more for a better coverage, and when I lack a bit of glue, I'll just pop more glue on. A bit in the center of the other, because that's going to sit on top of the magnet. And then all you do is you give this a good press down. I'm going to do this off camera because you need to squeeze it together in the center until the glue has set. So I'll come back to you once my medallion has dried. So this is my medallion after I've dried, and I've put the second magnet in order to make sure I don't lose it. I've just put it to the back side of my medallion, but it's not glued, it just magnet holds magnet, so this can be detached. So this is the front of my medallion, and I'm just going to use my tweezers to help me fold this up, and I'm just simply going to use, where is my bone folder? Can't find it. I'm just going to carefully, because this is a filigree little piece of paper, warp it a bit, because that will look nicer. And I'm going to glue my butterfly to the center, and I must not use metal, because as you saw, the magnet straight away jumps to my tweezers and wants to catch on them. So I'm just going to add some glue here. I'm going to use plastic to pop it in place. So I'm going to set this aside to dry. And what I did was, for the center of my butterfly, I used one of these buttons, and they are actually retired, but many of you will still have them, and they were called the designer vintage faceted buttons, and any button basically will do. But what I did was I took the button, and I think I took it like so, or did I take it like so? No, I took it like this. So this is the bottom, this is the top. So I'm going to put it like this, and all I did was I took one of these crystals, popped the crystal in the center of the button, and then glued the button, but I think I used this for it. This is glossy accents, and I'm just going to add glossy accents to the... Oh, my bottle is stuck again. Not so good. Okay, I'm still not lucky. And in a minute it's just gonna squirt out like a big blob. There you go. Glossy accents on the button. And actually try to pop the button in the center of my butterfly, kind of. And again, can't use metal because the magnet will straight away try to catch. It's a bit fiddly, but you get the idea. So this can be set aside now to dry. As you can see, it's really nice, and the magnet will catch the sentiment. So it's now time to do the little cutouts here. So I want my, so sorry, my camera went off because it went hot. So what you're going to do is you're going to open your card and you're going to mark the center here and here, and then you're going to take your little 1-inch circle punch, and you're going to aim to make a little cutout, like something like this, on both sides. Try to be relatively symmetrical. So this is what you get. You have this little gap that you need for the magnet, because otherwise the magnet needs to work through too many layers of cardstock and will not be strong enough. So this is what you do, and now it's time to stamp your sentiment. And I'm just going to use some white cardstock, scrap cardstock, and I'm using this sentiment, as I told you, from the Eastern Beauty set, and I'm using the chocolate chip because that is color coordinated with my cardstock. And I'm just quickly going to stamp my sentiment on here. Very pretty. And I'm going to punch it out using this, my I think it's a Pretty Label punch. So you're gonna aim to place it centered, something like this, and you take that out. So this is all you need this punch for. It can go away. So the next thing you need to do is your remaining magnet, which is, where is it? Don't tell me. Oh, the mirror. I thought I lost it. The remaining magnet is here. So I'm going to take my remaining magnet off here. Joop. And you just need to make sure that you actually put it the right polarity, because if you turn it upside down, so wait a minute, I need to do this again. So this is the right way. I'm quickly going to what am I going to do? Going to mark it. Can I? No, it's not going to stay on. I would need a black pen or something just to mark the right side. Just bear with me. I'm going to get myself a Sharpie. All right, back with the Sharpie pen, and I'm going to mark the side where the glue goes on with my Sharpie pen in black. So I now can actually take this off and glue this to here, or yes, I'm going to glue it to there. So I'm going to no, I'm going to use my Glossy Accents, because that's a stronger glue than the tacky glue. So add a bit of this and try to figure out roughly the center of my shutter here. Okay, and we are going to cover this with our sentiment anyway, and the sentiment is also going to be put on dimensionals. One, 2, 3, and 4. Oops. And you peel the dimensionals off. side. And I'm going to add some glossy accent to the center of my magnet here, and then get my sentiment with my peeled off dimensionals and try to shift it underneath here a bit. It's a bit tricky because you need to get it underneath there without it sticking, and it has already stuck on that side, so I need to take a slightly different approach, and that's this way. And I'm going to actually pull this out, pop this down and put this back in. Okay. Try not to, you can bend it, but try not to fold it when pushing it, so just be careful. Okay, here we go. So this is our sentiment and the hidden magnet in place, closing well. Though I want this to be the up and that the downside, so wait a minute. This fiddly. Okay, now this is what I want, and you can already try out your closure, because at this point it should stick. Actually, what you still need to do is, after all this is in, you really need to burnish well this and this part, and then where's my magnet? Oh dear, the magnet is not strong enough. That's a problem. Wait a minute. Okay, this closes with the magnet, but just so, because apparently the gap that is in here takes off the extra layers of cardstock from the shutters. So the magnet that is behind this sentiment only needs to work through this piece of cardstock, and apparently there is nothing else here that actually interferes. So this, it is closing now, as you can see, but it comes off just like that. So I'm thinking of a solution, and I think maybe a third magnet to be added to this might do the job. So let me just see what I can do. I have got one magnet that is even bigger than the others. Let me just, which is this one, and see if I add this to the back side of my, okay, let's see if this does any, yes. Okay, so apparently learned something else. Don't use 6-inch magnets, use 8-inch magnets. 8-inch by 1-inch thickness will do the job. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a bit of glue underneath here before I'm not going to add another layer of cardstock there now. I'm just going to add a bit of the glossy accent glue here and let the magnet just catch it. Wrong way around. Still the wrong way around. Right way around. And I'm just going to press this down. Okay, so I've now doubled the magnetic force in order to work through all these layers of cardstock. So basically you just use stronger magnets, because I used 6mm by 1mm, which are not strong enough to go through so many layers of cardstock. But adding the 8mm one has done the job, so we saved this project. Now what's left to do is how to decorate. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I'm just going to put this on here to make sure I don't break my fancy bits here. So this needs to go on like so, and you need to manually mark where your thing there is. And then, because we used the 1 inch, so I'm now going to use the 1 3/8 of an inch punch, and I'm slightly going to exceed my mark. And this is then how my paper fits on the front. So this is ready to be glued in place. And I'm quickly going to do this. So this is, oh, come on, no big deal. Just add the glue. Pop this onto this side. So you've used, for this here, you've used the 1-inch circle punch, so you need to use the next size bigger for your designer paper to match the shape, kind of. If you use the same size, it will not look right. You are going to see if you try. So this is the second bit, and again I have to line it up and mark it. Just try to make sure that so I'm just basically, this is eyeballing, okay. Just trying to get these things right, so I'm quickly going to put this in place as well. And I have been thinking, because I quite don't like my aperture in the middle, the circle, because I actually put it through my die cutting machine when the glue was still wet, when I had just adhered the designer paper to my cardstock, resulting in an untidy, like, I don't even know how to call it in English, but it's just untidy. I don't like the appearance of it, so the card center still needs some pimping, and I'm going to show you what I'm coming up with. So this is in place here very nicely, okay. And what I was on about is, see here, because my paper was still wet from the wet glue, it actually has pushed through in a way I don't like it. So what I did was I quickly die cut from nesting circle dies a frame, and that exactly matches this, and I'm going to glue in a frame because I think that looks better. So this is a change to the first card I did, because that apparently hasn't got that frame, but there I did it differently anyway. I didn't die cut the two bits together, which I have regretted in this case, so learn something else again. So I'm just going to basically pop this on here very gently and just cover up the not so tidy cutting seam. I think this looks better. What do you think? So what is left to do is, folks, is how on earth did she get this designer paper to fit on there? This is actually going to be a bit more challenging, because again, you need to mark this and need to punch it out. So again, you take the larger circle punch, you aim for it, you pop it on like so, and now what you need to do is you need to take your bone folder and you need to make a few marks running across your DSP, telling you exactly where this sits. And now once you've figured this out, you set this aside, you get your cutting board out again. Can you see it? You have got your lines here. So I am going to cut this. Actually, you probably can see it better if I use a pen. So what you do is you still run your bone folder over it, but make sure can you see it? I'm going to cut here and all the way up there. So you need your craft knife, and you need to be looking really well at where you're cutting. So I'm going to cut all the way to the 4. Where is my knife? Here is my knife. Okay, and then you are not going to cut on this side of the line, you need to cut on this side of the line. So that's why I'm actually putting this here. Oh, I could have, this is very difficult to see. So I finished this. So this is what you need to get, this. And if you cut it like this and you feed it through here, when you try it on, you can see that this fits perfectly. And is actually ready to be glued in. But before I'm going to glue this in, I need to find my eraser in all this creative mess. Where is it? Because I want to take out this line that I just drew with the pencil, so bear with me. So I'm back and I got my eraser here. So what you do is you carefully take off your pencil lines, and then you add glue to the back side of your paper strip everywhere. And you are going to glue this strip in. And it's a bit fiddly, but it's doable. If I can do it, you can do it as well. So how I figured it out was actually the best thing to do is slide it in like so. And you keep sliding. And this is not a big problem here because my eraser is going to take off the excess glue that I just smeared, involuntarily of course, on this. So you want to make sure you get the best possible fit here. Push this to there. Erase your excess glue before it sets. Okay, I'm coming back in later to do so. So this is how you actually get a very nice fit around there. And you just have to do the other side as well to have this beautiful fitting. So again, you need to mark the thumb gap and punch that out first. That's the 1/3 of an inch. Yes, 1/3. And you eyeball it like so. There you go. And once you've done this, you would need to mark your cutting line. So before anything else, you'll use your scoring tool to make like a crease, so you know exactly where you're going. Okay, so I set this away and we are going to cut this again. So I'm going to cut from 2 and I'm going to cut below this line, slightly below, and I need to cut all the way to the 4. So this is how I'm going to set it, and I start at the 1 and I cut all the way to the 4, and this leaves me with this. And I'm going to erase my pencil marks before I glue this in. So let's try the shoe on. Perfect fit. I'm actually not 100% happy yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to amend this, pull this out, and just extend this cut very, very slightly to allow to push it down slightly more. So, and try it on again. So this goes underneath here. Aha. Yes, now it comes down because I wanted this gap to be the same like this one. So, and then this needs, and I'm not happy with this distance and this distance, so I'm going to repeat the cut here, and this is no problem because I have to actually, believe it or not, cut outside the line because it didn't work out the way I wanted it. So now I have 2 strips that need to go inside. So I'm going to move both in. And they say, oh, I cut it on the wrong side. I'm so silly, sorry. Alright, you can still save it, but this is getting ridiculous now. So, well, you're probably having good fun here now. Ute demonstrating her not so skills. Okay, so now I've got 3 strips. I'm probably going to redo the whole thing, because these need to stay outside and need to fit, and this needs to go inside. Alright, yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was going to happen. So I'm going to redo this strip. Where is this piece? Here are the pieces that would need to be squeezed in here, which is ridiculous. So this would be the first bit I would need to push, and then this is the second bit I would need to push here. So yeah, I could squeeze that in, but it's not the neatest solution. So I'm going to redo this strip and place it in. You can see my struggles here. You will have the same, but it's worth the effort, and try to be really precise, because then the result is really flawless and everybody's going to wonder how on earth you managed to get this in there. So as you can see, it will take you several attempts. I'm going to redo this and come back to you. Okay, next attempt. Sorry for that. So here, oops. So you, oops, are going to add glue everywhere, also on the strip that goes behind the mechanism. Here we go. This goes in. Okay, I'm trying my best here to adjust this. And this is looking good. I don't have any paper towel. Okay, so So this tiny wee bit I'm going to cut off with a craft knife just alongside here. I need to do this off camera. Okay, after a lot of fiddling about, this card is basically finished. It has this extra cover up here because I didn't like how that aperture had come out, but it closes up beautifully and it opens up beautifully. And where's my little medallion that I made? So this medallion has an extra magnet here and closes up my card beautifully. So this is the same card as this one, just in a different color scheme. And the difference here is, as you can see, the magnet that sits underneath here has a gap here in the shutter, so that it doesn't have to go through or work through so many layers of cardstock, because originally this card was planned differently and this was my solution to cover up the gap. And now I've tried to make the same card here, and with no gap in my shutter. As you can see, the shutter shuts 100%, and this has made it necessary to add an extra magnet, a larger one. So I'm going to leave all the information on my blog, so please find the link to my blog in the description box of this video tutorial. I hope you liked it, and thanks for being with me today. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Button is there in the corner. Please scroll down and read all the links in the description box, because there is a lot of links to not only my blog but also to my Facebook group. You're welcome to join me. If you haven't done so yet, there is my Etsy store where you can find tutorials that aren't free, but they are very reasonably priced. So maybe you want to browse what I've got there as well. So the Etsy shop link is there as well. And of course, there's a link for those who think of joining my team. You know that we currently have this promotion on. It's not going to get any better anymore. This is the possible best offer. You are getting extra stuff on top. You pay £99 for £130 value of your starter pack. You get an extra kit with crafty essentials like a bone folder, scissors, glues and things like that, worth up to, I think it was £45, but I'm not sure. And the Christmas Carols stamp set on top. So there's a lot of freebies waiting for you. So if you want to sign up this year or this month, do it now, because it won't get any better than this. And yeah, if you want to find out more information about that, how to become a demonstrator, you can also find a link in the description box to read more about that. So just browse all the information that is made available to you. And thanks for watching this, and happy crafting, and I hope you like it, and just let me know in the comments what you think of my make. Thank you so much, and bye.